Hi, I'm Monica, and this is how I got my keys. Come on in. I'm a digital marketing manager, and I rent this one-bedroom flat in North London, Islington, for £1,275 per month. And I recently moved to London from Canada about 2 years ago.
Wow, this place is amazing to look at. Thank you for inviting us. So what's the most interesting part of your home?
I think it's probably this lampshade that I got from Hay. I bought it a few times before I found the right size for the space.
How much did you spend on furnishing?
I spent around £1,000 so far on furnishing. I furnished it really slowly, so I have a pretty strict budget on how much I like to spend a month, and when I'm moving I spend less on other things, so I picked up things month by month just to fit in my budget. So I bought like this table before I moved here. I bought these chairs on Facebook Marketplace that were a bit pricey. And then I kind of waited a long time to get a couch because it was like the biggest purchase, but yeah, in the end I had to get it brand new because I couldn't find one secondhand that I liked.
And when did you first think about moving to the UK?
So I think it started January of like 2020-ish when my boyfriend was thinking about applying to med school. So we were considering a few different places in like the US, Australia, Hong Kong. And in the end, we settled on the UK as the easiest for both me and him. So for me to move to the UK kind of like as an expat, I didn't have a lot of big issues that I think normal people expect, like was like, for example, a visa. So there's like a youth mobility visa that I got that you can get without a job. So I was able to get hired easier. But other than that, like the only issues I had was credit. So I don't have any credit history here, and it doesn't really translate internationally. So for example, like my Wi-Fi, I had to pay that all up front. When I needed to get a phone plan, I couldn't get one of those plans that you could get a free phone with. The only way I got a credit card was because I had American Express, and they kind of have a program where if you have history with them, you can get a UK American Express that way.
So what's the best thing about living alone?
I think the best thing is having the freedom to like do whatever I want with my space, like decorate however I want. I have like my yoga mat there, I have as much plants as I want.
What's the most expensive thing you've bought for your home?
I think the most expensive thing is probably this couch. But interestingly, the second most expensive thing is this kettle over here. So it's been kind of an aspiration of mine to buy this kettle. It's the Fellow kettle, and it heats up your water to, you know, the exact temperature you want, and it has like a pour over spout, and I find it like very therapeutic to make my pour over coffee with this kettle.
Where is cheaper to rent, the UK or Canada?
So I think definitely the Canada is cheaper to rent. So yeah, just overall, there's not that many people there, and property prices are a lot cheaper. So the process of renting from Canada wasn't too complicated. How it works is very similar to Canada in the sense that you get an agent or you go directly to the landlord to rent. So what I did was I looked on Rightmove for places, and I found a unit I really liked, but it wasn't available for when I wanted it. But I was like, okay, you know what, I'm just gonna keep looking in that area. So while I was looking in that area, I was like searching on Google, on Facebook Marketplace, and I ended up finding an agency that had another unit in the building. So I reached out to them just individually, and I don't know why that unit wasn't actually on Rightmove, but I was able to negotiate with that agent directly and ask for the price that I saw before for the other unit. So I was able to get it like £100 cheaper than what was listed on their website. Yeah, because we call it like a condo unit in Canada, but yeah, like flats. Sorry, flat.
So tell me a bit about the plants that you have in your living space.
Yeah, so I have this large Palm of Paradise. It was a baby when I first got it. It had like 3 leaves. I got it from like Columbia Road Flower Market. I also have kind of like a lot of pothos around. I think I just picked this up from IKEA when I was shopping one day. This was also a small plant when I first got it. And yeah, I just like enjoy taking care of them, and I think it really brightens up the space without like having to spend a lot of money on like decor items, and it's very like natural and easy to decorate. So the flat was listed, I think, for like 1,300 something, and I was able to negotiate it down to 1,250. But because I have to pay 6 months upfront plus the deposit, upfront I had to pay like I think almost £8,000. And I had to bank transfer that from Canada, which came out to like basically 15,000 Canadian dollars upfront. So quite a hefty amount. I was preparing to move here for a while now, so I did have savings. Of course, I didn't expect like this much money to be going out, but I did have like my emergency fund like already ready, so I did already have money set aside just in case something came up.
Do you plan to stay in the UK long term?
At least for the next 3 years, I think, because my boyfriend's in med school here, so definitely till then, and then we're gonna kind of explore our options. Although I don't mind staying in the UK at all. I love it here.
And has your boyfriend bought anything for your home?
So actually, he did. He bought me this mirror that's in my bedroom right now. He bought me this arch mirror for Christmas. I think there are a few costs to look out for if you're renting besides from like your deposit and your rent. So of course there's like the cost to furnish your flat when you first move in. You're gonna realize if you're moving from your parents that there's all these things that you can't bring with you, or like me from overseas, or even from my other flat that was furnished to this one that wasn't furnished. So there's like a lot of things I needed to buy. There's also just the cost of moving. So from like the moving truck to packing boxes to like end of tenancy cleaning. So even though it's not required for you to hire a professional, when I moved into my old flat, it was pretty professionally cleaned. So of course I couldn't clean it to that standard. So I got charged, I think like $150 at the end from my deposit to get it cleaned. So yeah, like small things like that to watch out for. So better to have a budget for that.
Your room looks so spacious. Can you tell me a bit more about your decor?
Thank you. I feel like I'm just carrying on the elements from the other room, was like the natural wood and the plants. I was looking for a way to like have a wardrobe without it being such like a closed door wardrobe. I found this divider on Wayfair, and then I just kind of have like an IKEA drawer system, or like, I don't know, railing system in there that I cover with it, and this can kind of be like my changing area. And it hides my wardrobe, and I think it brings in like that natural wood element that's, you know, on my table and like the chairs in the other room.
Wow, it looks gorgeous in here. Do you ever plan on buying somewhere, or do you think renting works best for you?
I have already bought in Canada with my parents, and right now renters are living there and I used to live there. But I think I would consider it when me and my boyfriend are ready to kind of like settle down. But yeah, I do think it's a lot of financial burden to buy a place. So personally, I don't think renting is throwing money away, because as someone who, like I previously mentioned, I bought a place in Canada with my parents, and there is a lot of financial burden that comes with that. You can really never be without a steady stream of income, because the mortgage payment is going to come out of your bank account whether you like it or not. I also think it depends on what you feel the most comfortable with and like what's best for your mental health. So personally, I find like I'm more introverted. I like to be on my own, and even just being in a house with other people takes up mental space. So I felt like I created more opportunities for myself when I moved out on my own, because I was able to make decisions on my own. I didn't have to come home and think about whoever else was at home. I can just focus on myself. Like, not that I don't leave time for family, I do, but you know, it's just not the main thing in my life every single day.
How have you found balancing rent and bills while living here?
So of course, like before I rented this, I made sure I had the right budget for to be able to rent this place. The bills are not too different from my previous flat, so that was pretty good. And I just make sure that I kind of follow my usual budgeting rule of like 50 for fixed expenses, 30 for kind of like my needs or no, wants, I guess. And then I save 20% every month.
How much you spend a month on bills?
So right now I spend around £200 on top of my rent right now. So I pay £95 for council tax, and that's with the 25 25% single occupancy discount. And then I spent around 23 on water, 30 something on electricity, I think, and 40 something on heat or gas. Yeah.
And do you have any hacks or top tips on staying on top of your budget?
So for me, I follow a pretty strict budget. I have like an Excel sheet where I track all my spendings, and basically whenever I change my income, I put it into the spreadsheet. So I think there could be more guidance out there for people renting, especially in London. It's such a competitive market. I think if you go online and Google, you'll get the basics of what you need to rent, what your income level needs to be, and like the basics of how to do it. I personally used to work at a real estate agency in Toronto, so I have a little more like inside knowledge of how agents work. One of the things I can share is like, I'm not 100% sure it's like this in the UK, but in Canada, if the agent that is the listing agent of the property and the agent that shows you the property is a different person, the commission gets split. So you can see that for the agent listing the property, it's better to find a tenant on their own than to have another agent bring you a client. So if you think about that, it's better sometimes for you to go out, find units, and contact the listing agent directly versus trying to find an agent and doing everything through one agent. But of course, like also there's, certain agents have inside knowledge of what's going to be on the market before it even hits the market. So there's both sides there.
What do you wish you knew before starting the UK moving process?
I actually feel like I organized it pretty well. So when I moved here, I immediately went to my flat and I got my keys and then immediately moved in. I also got my groceries delivered like the day after I moved in, and then I used like my boyfriend's Amazon and I got like these pillows delivered like the next day. I brought a sleeping bag with me so I could sleep there that night and have like bedding and stuff. So yeah, like I kind of thought through immediately what I would need the first week that I was there and just made sure that I had that all ready and set up by the time I got into my new flat. For anyone looking to rent internationally, or you're looking to rent before you would get here and you're able to see the property yourself, my word of caution to like sending money internationally. So of course I had to send a very large chunk of money ahead of time, but I did that after like doing my research and feeling like really comfortable that this was a legitimate corporation, that I wasn't sending the money to an individual. It also helped that this agency used a third-party company that was very reputable to do the referencing beforehand. So not only did I check that the company was a good company and that the referencing was done correctly, then I felt comfortable sending the money through like an international bank transfer directly to them. Thanks for watching How I Got My Keys. Please comment, subscribe, and like if you enjoyed the video. And you can find me on my socials at MonicaX1.